All right, so it is 7 on the dot. So let's make moves. Let's get started. Okay. So the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. So I hope you are in the right place. So I'm super duper excited about this. Typically, I've worked with clients over the course of 6 months, working in depth, making their money match their life goals, doing like strategy, planning, implementation, habits, mindset. And the one thing that everyone that's ever been my client needs is cash flow management. Financial problems and all the bad feelings associated with financial problems, the stress, the anxiety, the worrying, the fighting with your spouse, they all stem from the root of money management. And luckily, that's the crux of the solution too. So I developed the invisible system, and this is what I'm going to share with you tonight. And so I did my very best to make this free training for you digestible right now. So that way you can get the shift in your money, get the shift in your mindset. Money management is an area where systematic changes can give a really quick win, and you can watch your situation improve really fast. And so that's why I made this for you guys. So listen, even though you're responsible for your situation, when I say responsible, I mean like you're going to have to do the cleanup, right? Like there's no magic wand, there's no magic bullet. What I want to say is that money problems are not your fault. So everybody I've worked with ever, they're amazing people. These are smart people, motivated people, rocking and rolling at life, really masters of, math. Like they're good at this, they're good at adulting. But here's where the problem is. They got no financial education, either from school or at home. They weren't raised by wealthy people who also had healthy relationships with money. And so their programming around money was off. When you don't understand the financial systems, you end up getting screwed. Hence student loans. Oh my word, my numbers are off on this. Sorry guys. Then credit cards, retailers, and marketers all use your psychology against you. They know how to get you to make impulse purchases. They know how to tap into your emotions to get you to buy stuff. And so more reasons that amazing people suck at managing their money is a scarcity mindset. Now, again, nobody's like, excuse me, I will take a scarcity mindset, please. I would like to believe forever that I don't have enough. This stuff comes from how we were raised, and we had no control over that. And a lot of times those ideas cause us to make poor decisions. And then we end up saying, I'm a hot mess. I'm bad at money. I'm not good at this. I am statements. And then we start to behave that way. And so when we get into a spot where we're trying to operate using self-discipline and willpower, it doesn't really work. The willpower never lasts as long as the problem. And that's why diets are a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's because they're trying to get you to use willpower to fix a problem. And that's not the best way to solve it. And so that's same thing happens with money. And so there's two big money fail feelings that really, really mess with people. Now listen, if you told me in the beginning that feelings really matter, I would have been like, that's silly. That's super silly. But it's true. And so if you feel a lot of shame around your money, you'll say still, you won't want to tell anybody about it because you'll be feeling ashamed about it. And if you feel guilty about it, you'll take action. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of money because of mom guilt. I think all the moms got it. And so most money management plans come from a place of judgment. And feeling judged makes you feel guilty and ashamed. And those are like money fail feelings. And this leads to a perpetual cycle of this doesn't work. What I mean is like, even on my ads, somebody was like, in my copy, I wrote, budgets don't work in real life. And they really don't. Most people fail at budgets. And someone was like, yes, they do. They do work. You just have to have self-discipline and willpower. And I'm like, yeah, kiss off, lady. But and it makes you feel like you suck. So this is how this happens. So it's a perfect storm for a money disaster. There's no education and a complex financial system. You get constant messages of not enough. You need this. You're going to be better with this. You should have this car. And you have easy money. You have management techniques that don't account for your humanity. The fact that mental accounting is flawed, that you might make an impulse decision. But you're also working with marketers that are in your face constantly, bombarding you with messages that do understand your feelings. So your management techniques for your money do not understand how you operate, but the marketers do. And so this is a perfect storm for money disaster. And so these are the things we're going to cover today, is that budgets and cash envelope systems, they don't work. That debt-free is not the starting point to building wealth. And I'm going to teach you the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. Then at the end, if you want to, I'll offer you the entire system. And it's so good. So money problems suck. And the thing is that it's never a lack of resources. It's a cash flow management problem. It's not that you don't actually have enough. So here's how to know if you might have a cash flow problem. So here are some symptoms. So it's kind of, I feel like I'm going to be like, you might be a cash flow problem. Like, you know how Jeff Foxworthy is like, you might be a redneck. So if you run out of money before your next paycheck, you probably have a cash flow management problem. If you want to save, and when you look at your numbers, you think you should be able to, but it doesn't ever really happen that way. If you have no idea where your money goes, like if you're like, man, I should have money. What happened to it? Where does it go? If you have credit card debt, that's a cash flow management issue. If you are being caught off guard by expenses that surprise you, like snow tires or heating oil or car taxes, if you have anxiety about making regular purchases, like if going to the grocery store freaks you out, if you check your bank balance while you're in line for stuff, you probably have a cash flow management problem. If you pay overdraft fees or late payment fees, and if you're not saving or if you're spending money out of savings. And so mastering cash flow is the only way to make progress toward financial independence. Real financial independence comes when your assets and your investments cover your living expenses fully. And I just want to say that an investment is something that you put money into that provides a return on investment. You know, so somebody said to me today that they were investing in furniture, and I'm like, you're not going to get a return on investment in furniture unless your furniture sells. So you were spending money. There's a difference. And so real financial independence is when your assets generate enough income to cover living expenses. And so in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this system works that I teach my imperfect clients who have busy lives, who don't want to budget, who don't want to carry their money around envelopes, who don't want to live life like a pauper, and they want to still be able to enjoy the fun and enjoy the good things in their lives. So if you stay till the end, I'm going to bribe you with two things. One of these super cool worksheets. The other thing is I'm going to teach you 7 strategies to get rid of debt forever way at the end when I'm telling you guys about the bonuses. All right, so a little bit about me. So I worked in the nonprofit sector for 10 years before I came into finance. And there's only 2 points in that career that are worth telling you about. The first is I was super happy. I was loving what I was doing. I was really enjoying myself, but I wasn't making very much money. And so I taught myself how to trade stock options at night, and I supplemented my income doing that. And then the second time is when I burned out. I was just exhausted. I was not really being paid what I was for the work that I was doing. And I was just there a long time. And so one day I was whining to my mom, who told me that if I could teach myself how to trade stock options, I should be a financial advisor. So I took a job with Edward Jones, one of the biggest brokerage firms in the nation, and I earned all my financial licenses, my 7, my 66, my insurance licenses, my variable, all this stuff. But I realized when I started working with clients that most people don't have an investment problem. Most people that I was meeting with weren't coming to see me because they had so much money that they needed me to pick out their stocks and bonds. They were coming to see me with, hey, I would love to invest, but how do I get rid of this credit card debt? I want to send my kids to college, but I don't have any money to put into their 529s. What do I do? And so I learned that even people who make good money have a lot of trouble with their money. And this compounds that embarrassment factor that I talked about earlier, because it's super embarrassing when you know that you have enough, but you never seem to have enough. And so I built the system because I watched clients over and over have the same budget fails. And so listen, my career goal, and the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to help 1 million people improve their financial lives, and I want to give away $100 million. Not like this year, but like over the course of my career. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. So who this workshop is for. So if you make good money, but you're not making progress financially, maybe you have student loans, credit cards, or other debt that weighs on your shoulders. If you feel overwhelmed or frustrated when it comes to your money, if you know you could be doing better than you are, and if you're ready to grow and ready to make a change, who this workshop is not for. If you want to get rich by being cheap, I'm not going to teach you to steal ketchup or do anything crazy like that. If you'd rather complain than take action, well, then you're welcome to stay, but it's not really going to help. If you're looking to get rich quick, we're not going over any ideas to make more money today. We're only going to talk about managing what you've got. And if you don't want to work or grow and you just want to make excuses, then this won't help you. So we are just about to get into the meat and potatoes of this. And so listen, I jam-packed this free training full of as much value as I possibly could, and we are going to move fast. So please minimize out of your tabs, get rid of your distractions, grab a notebook, grab a pen, because we are ready to get started. Are you ready? I hope so. Are you ready? Let's get started. Okay, so does this sound like you did everything right? You studied hard, you went to school, you got a career, but you're not making progress financially? And does this sound like you're worried about your financial future? You get confused when you try to get it straightened out. You feel like money gets veto power in too many of your decisions. If money is a bone of contention in your relationships, if you make payments on debt, but it never seems to go down, especially with student loans, if you're not saving what you could or you should be, and if you've tried something and it didn't work for you, like you're like, I tried the budgeting app and nothing happened. Imagine what your life's going to be like when you're crystal clear about how much money it actually takes for you to be an investor, to pay the bills, to save for emergencies, to have money for fun stuff, and to be able to buy yourself a freaking latte without having to feel bad about it. All while you're making progress toward your financial goals. You're telling your money what's up and giving it directions. You feel confident about your spending and your savings, and you start to see possibilities and opportunities instead of just roadblocks and obstacles. So what would that mean for you? So Lou is one of my favorite clients. So Lou came to see me with this crazy idea that he wanted to quit his job and hike on the Appalachian Trail for 6 full months. And so what we did was we got him ready to be able to go 6 months with really no income. So he had some credit cards and some student loans, and we put those things in order, and he's just been chipping away at them, and he's totally on track. His hike starts next spring, and he's going to take his 6 months off. He's already let his job know and everything, and so it was just a matter of making the money do what he wanted to do. Now I use him as an example. Most of my clients are not coming to see me hoping to take 6 months to go hiking in the woods, but I just want you to prove the point that anything is possible when you use your money as a tool. So financial independence is possible for anybody doing anything, but managing your cash flow is always the prerequisite. So most people, they're like, hey, I saw this idea. I want to use an investment property to pay off my student loans. You have to manage your cash flow to be able to get the money to have the down payment. You want to let the stock market work for you and use your dividends to pay your bills? Awesome. You have to have money to buy stocks, and that means you need to manage your cash flow. You want to have so much financial independence that you can choose to go to work because you want to go there and not because you have to? Well, that's great. But that means you have to be managing your cash flow and your investments so that way you can get there. So you must manage your cash flow. You have to do that to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. And stacking cash is the way to get to financial independence. So again, what we're going to cover today is budgets don't work in real life. Debt-free is not a requirement for saving or for wealth building, and the awesome invisible system. So truth bomb 1. I feel like I need to take a breath. Okay. So did you know 39% of Americans report having no savings at all? Another 39% report having outstanding credit card debt. 69% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved. and 55% of people 55 and older report having no retirement savings. These numbers are scary. I mean, this is scary. 70% of people have less than $1,000 saved. And listen, in another study, 78% of Americans report living paycheck to paycheck. So we know that 78% of people are not having a resource problem. We live in the richest nation. And so we know that it's not, like an actual poverty. This is a management issue. Poverty is like 15% and 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. That's a huge difference. So we know it's not about resources. So here's why budgets don't work. Budgets are a business tool. They're meant to be used at a table with your numbers to help guide your decisions. So here, this sounds silly and I'm kind of making fun, but how many of you carry your budgets around with you? You take them out at the cash registers to compare the cost of what you're doing in the allocated budget. No? Nobody? Ever? Anybody? No? So that leaves you working with your mental accounting system, right? So if you're not carrying your budget, when you're making your decisions, that means you're using your mind. Now, mental accounting is super flawed. And here's why. We have a thing called habit blindness. It's when you don't notice spending that happens as part of a habit. When something goes into your habit, it falls from the conscious part of your mind, like the upfront that you keep track of, and it just falls into a habit, which means that you don't fully remember doing it. Now, another thing that people do is what I call shopping below the pain point. So this is a funny little story. So I had clients in to see me, and they were working with me for 6 months, and we were about 4 months in, and they wanted to quit. And I was like, what? They were like, we love you, you're doing great, but we had this wedding come up, and they had, and a medical expense, and they just didn't want to make the last payment. And so I'm going through their transactions with them, and I'm seeing, so they spent $600 shopping this month, $800 last month, another $600 the month before. And I'm like, well, you spent $600 this month, the wedding was coming, so like, what's going on? She couldn't remember what she was spending the money on if her transaction was less than $45. If the transaction was more than $45, she could remember it and tell me what she got. And so a lot of times we have a number that's like our pain threshold. And when something's less than that, we mentally discard it as inexpensive and we go about our day. But you can spend a ton of money in $45 transactions. And so this is why budgeting typically doesn't work, is because you're trying to, budgets like pretty much can only work when you're operating with true numbers. And so when you're trying to operate your budget with mental accounting, it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. And so if you were going to actually use a budget, you would need true numbers, and you would need to compare your budget versus actual. That means you need like bookkeeping. You need a spreadsheet and bookkeeping to see what it was you budgeted and what it was that actually happened. And then you'd have to reconcile the differences every month. Now, most of us don't have the time or patience to do this type of record keeping, which is why budgets typically fail in household situations. Now, another flaws in mental accounting cause budgets to be off from the beginning. So sometimes we even start our budget not with the truth, not with like what we actually spend looking at our transactions, but we start with a pen and a blank sheet of paper and we write down our expenses. And even though we do our best to remember these things, I already told you why your mind doesn't remember all of it. And so the math was never meant, it's like garbage in, garbage out, pretty much. And so what this will cause you to do is give up the things that you like, and you like things that bring joy to your life first, leaving waste and habitual spending that doesn't necessarily make you happy. Let that sink in. So when you're just working with your mental accounting, a lot of the things that are wasteful fall below the radar of what your mind picks up. And so what your mind does pick up is the stuff that you like. And that's always the first thing that people try to give up when it doesn't necessarily need to go. All right, so another reason budgets don't work is budgets don't have a hard stop. So if you're overspending, the money comes out of the account and you just have a problem. Like, you could figure out where the budget went wrong, but it doesn't matter. There was no hard stop. It doesn't tell you before you've made the mess. It's just a cleanup. Then all the crap hits the fan and you feel like it was a personal failure. Like you were bad at money or bad at adulting, or like a client told me yesterday that she feels like a major F up, and she was sad about it. And that's because People tell us that this stuff is common sense, but it's not. And you're working against all your own psyche. Okay, so cash envelope systems. They try to solve the budget fail with a hard stop. So here's how this works is you go, you make a budget, and then you get envelopes, and you go to the bank, and you use the cash, and you put cash into the envelopes, and then you go to the store with the envelopes to buy the stuff that you need. Okay, so that's how this plan is just it's archaic. It doesn't work because it was invented during the Depression era when there was one paycheck to manage, no access to credit cards, and cash was already king. So anybody show of hands for who has extra time in their lives for errands? Nobody? Nope. Not one person? No. Needing actual cash clashes with our digital lifestyle. Using this system requires a change in so many habits at once that most people can't make it. So listen, this could work, but the level of change in your life is really unsustainable because now you have to change all of your spending, and so many habits go along with that, where normally you might take out your debit card to buy milk on the way home from work, and it's fine and convenient, but now you left your money envelope at home, and so now you have to drive back across town to go get milk. It's super inconvenient, and so those types of things build up, and then the plan doesn't work. Another thing is you want a system that's going to work and let you think about your money management less. Cash flow or cash envelope systems means you need to direct a lot of time and energy to your money, like a lot of it. Now you already have to spend a lot of time and energy to make the money. So you know, I don't want to negate the fact that you need to manage it. Like managing your money does require time and energy no matter what you use, and it deserves it. But if you're driving back and forth to the bank 3 times a week, it's just not well used time and energy. All right. I want to say one more thing about this before we get to Truth Bomb 2, is that the law of attraction and manifesting money. So listen, if you decide to work with me, we will certainly go over some law of attraction stuff because I've seen evidence of this working over and over again in my practice. But what I want to say about this is that if you're not good with a little money, having more money doesn't help. You know, manifesting money is a beautiful thing. Attracting money into your life is great, but it's not enough to get ahead. And what I want to say about this is that 87% or 84, high 80s of people who win the lotto are bankrupt within 3 years. So these are people that have gone from whatever financial situation they were in to being millionaires overnight, and they're right back to where they started in 3 years. So the attraction of the money didn't actually help them, but it probably made those couple of years super interesting. And so when I understood why people weren't successful with the cash flow management systems they were using, the solutions became clear to me. So what works? So you want to look at money like a tool that's going to help you get towards your life goals. And this is super, super important. And the reason for this is because when you do it the other way, everything sucks. I mean, that's the truth of it. You want to use your money to get what you want from your life. And so like Lou is using his money to hike the trail for 6 months. You want to be using your money for whatever lights you up. Okay, so you need to get clear on the numbers and what it takes to make the life goals happen. So that's super important. You want to set up a system that works without changing all of your money habits at once. And you want to use a hard stop in conjunction with your brain rather than against it. So Truth Bomb 2, debt-free is not the first step to building wealth. And somehow I feel like we're obsessed with it. The idea that you have to pay off all your debt before you save or build wealth is holding you back. And here's how it happens. This is the hamster wheel of debt. Step 1, you have debt. Step 2, you use all of your money to pay off your debt. Sometimes people save $1,000 first. Step 3, life comes and smacks you in the face. You have an unexpected, unplanned expense come your way. Step 4, you borrow the money for the expense because you've used all your money to pay off your debt. Step 5, have debt. Step 6, use all your money to pay off debt. This goes on and on and on. It doesn't work. So debt comes from a scarcity mindset. The idea that you don't have enough causes people to do all types of crazy things, including take on debt that they didn't want. And it comes from the habit of needing money. So you're like, duh, Brie, okay, I feel like I don't have money, and I need money because I don't have money. So, right? So this makes sense, right? The way to end the habit of needing money is to swap it for the habit of having money. So that means in real life, you need to start saving for the unexpected while you pay your debt. So it makes the payoff a little bit slower, but so much more sustainable. It changes your habits. Like, you have to change the habits with the money. Otherwise, the problem just comes back. You ever go on a diet, lose 10 pounds, and then gain it right back? The yo-yo diet, the same thing happens with debt. Yo-yo debt is what I call it, and it happens all the time. So another thing I want to say is that debt-free doesn't necessarily mean you're in good shape. You can pay off your credit cards in full every single month and still be in trouble. Because if you're not saving money for the unexpected, if you're not saving money, then you have debt. It's just waiting to happen. It's a simple fact. It's just a matter of time before it creeps up on you and you have to borrow something because you're unprepared for it. So the truth about payments, people come, this cracks me up. People come see me and they're like, Brie, I don't want to have any payments. I don't want to owe anybody anything. And I'm like, okay, well, you're always going to have payments because there's some expenses that are just the cost of having a decent life. And so you can get ahead of those payments. You can make the payment to yourself in your savings account, and be on top of this before it becomes an expense, or you can make the payment to the bank after the fact. But you always need to account for having a decent life. You always need to be paying for the things, that you want and need in your life. And so how to get rid of debt forever. So you need a mindset shift. You have to change your focus to saving, because what you focus on grows. So stop focusing on your debt. You have to choose the strategy that's best for paying off your debt. And I told you guys at the end of the presentation, when I talk about bonus 2 of the system, I'm going to go over the 7 strategies for you. And implementation. Once you put this plan in place, you want to put a plan in place and set it and forget it. I mean, not totally forget it. You still have to manage it, but you want to kind of forget it. You want to focus on what you do want and let go of all the obsessive, compulsive debt paying off. You want to give your mental attention to what it is that you do want. You have to change the habits that cause the debt in the first place. Now, it's not always just overspending. Sometimes it's not savings. Sometimes it's not having the right insurance. Sometimes that happens not through any habits, just a change in circumstances. So you have to find the real root cause of why you had that debt and address that problem. And then you have to shift your mindset from thinking that you don't have enough with scarcity to thinking that you do have enough and that you are good to be sufficient. So here's how Marianne Silva felt after doing this. So she loved the program and working with me, and I helped her get on track with her money goals at a time when she was killing it. She was making so much money, but wondering where all her dollars were going. And so she set up a system that's built her savings and investments, and she's got another account where she saves money for unexpected costs. And she jokes about her car taxes. She's paid off one of her cards, and she's on a clear track to have all her other debt gone in no time. So she would recommend working with me if you're ready to get clear on how to make the money work for you and how to do the things that you really want and deserve to do. Okay, so like the big show, why you guys are all here, the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. So the most important thing about managing money is matching it to your life goals. Money is a tool. So if budgets and cash envelopes had a baby that only got the good genes and was born in the digital era, it would be the invisible system. So I'm going to tell you how to do this and then show you some how to set it up. So first things first is you have to get clear on the numbers, which means you have to start with the transactions. The truth is in the transactions. Then you have to know how much you need each month. And here's why, is because making sure you fund for what you need before you fund for what you want makes your life way happier and way less stressful. You have to project for the unexpected, right? You want to think about your life. What's going to come up in the next year? Do I have any weddings to go to? Am I going to owe any taxes? Do I have any bills that are, that come out quarterly that I want to be ready to write the check for? Then you want to plan for the fun stuff. And you want to do this. This is the most important stuff, the joy and the happiness in your life. And then you need to have pocket money, but you have to have it under control. You need to be able to have autonomous spending money where you can go and enjoy a latte or a margarita with your girls or your friends and know that you're not going to mess everything else up doing it, right? That's how this works. So you want to separate your money into 5 different categories. So the first money is money that you're going to keep, money that you're going to use to invest. That's it. And you want to do that first. That's the first stop your money should take. For most of us, that money should probably never even make it to our checking accounts. It should probably go to our employer plans if you have one available. And if not, then that's fine too. You can set it up to happen automatically. But it's super important that whatever you do with that money, you should get a return on that investment. That's how you want to think about your investments. Money that you put into something that's going to appreciate. It's going to grow more money for you. It sounds pretty important, right? The next thing that you want your money to do is take care of your bills, the money that you need to use now, this month, money that you're going to need to use now. Then you want your money to go to your working capital account, money that you're going to use later. Now, what most people do is they don't have any working capital account. They don't have any savings account. And so what ends up happening is stuff that was really foreseeable ends up on credit or ends up being super stressful, and it's not fun. So then the fourth place that you want your money to go is another savings account where it's going to go for your important things. Most of my clients want to go on family vacations, but like whatever floats your boat. If you want to buy super expensive purses, do your thing. If you want to snowboard, okay, cool. Like you want to put the stuff that's going to bring you the most joy and happiness. And then the last place that you want your money to go is into your pocket money. And the reason is because the stuff that we mostly spend our money on is the stuff that and generally not the stuff that makes us the happiest. It's not the stuff that makes us the healthiest. And when you have what you want before you have what you need, your life is super duper stressful. And so most of the time we just operate out of, most people just operate out of one bank account, and they're trying to save, invest, spend money, pay the bills all out of one account. And that just makes us very messy. And it doesn't work. So imagine this side of the puzzle pieces here. These accounts are like a sieve. They're accounts that when you put the money in, it's gonna fall out of. And these are like buckets where you can build stuff up. So you want to stop using these where you bleed, and you want to start putting some money in these where you stack. You with me? Does this make sense? Okay. So once you've thought about what you want your money to do, what you want it to do that matches your life goals, then you want to set up a system that uses some automation so you can do the work once. Imagine food prepping one Sunday and it was done forever. Doesn't that sound like a beautiful idea? But you get to do that with money because you don't have to eat it. All right. So how to make this work is you want to automate the savings, but spend the money manually. So you want to set up the bill pay system through your bank. Set up your direct deposits from your paychecks into the right accounts. You want to invest automatically, but you want to pay your bills manually. You want to keep on tabs what's going out. That's pretty much what you want to do. Auto withdrawals cause so much financial pain and heartache. So you want to pay your bills manually. You want to use a debit card or cash for your pocket spending, but you pretty much don't really want to be spending out of those other accounts at cash registers. You only want to be spending out of your pocket money at a cash register. So another thing about this program is that we went over a lot of things. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, that sounds like a nice idea. If I had all the money to fill in all those buckets, I wouldn't be watching your stupid webinar, lady. So listen, here's the thing. You got to start where you are and focus on your habits. It is better to invest $1 a week than let the excuse of not having enough money live another week. You have to change if you want the change. And so that means just starting from where you are. It's better to project your expenses and save what you can than to live in a constant struggle. Because sometimes you get lucky and maybe something doesn't happen just the way that you thought you were gonna. And even if you eliminate your financial struggles by half this year, you're still better off than you were. It's better to pay a few extra months of interest to build financial strength while paying off your debt than to cut yourself to the bone and end up right back where you started 3 months after you paid it off. It's just better to do it a little bit more slowly. If you want a weight loss to be sustainable, you got to do it a little slower. Same thing for debt loss. You have to make it sustainable. Otherwise, you're going to be right back to where you started a few months later. Okay, another thing that you want to do is increase the efficiency in your spending. Most of us have so much waste in our budget, in our spending, not our budget. We just waste money on stuff that doesn't make us happy, doesn't bring us joy. And everybody I've ever seen does this. Most of my clients find between $500 and $1,500 a month. And when we switch the way that they spend, they report being more happy. Right? So you want to, when you change your thought process and you're looking for efficiency, it just makes sense. If you just stopped throwing your money away and you got to keep the money that's normally wasted, you're going to be better off. So this is how Melissa Saliva felt. So she recommends working with me because I helped her and her husband get control of their finances and crush their goals. They're in their dream house. They're managing their expenses. They're saving for retirement, and they're even starting a family vacation fund. So don't waste another second or a penny without my guidance. So when she came to see me, they had $0 in retirement. They were renting for sure. They were not managing their expenses because they were using one account. So they were trying to pay their bills, save, and they had both people spending and buying stuff for their kids out of one account. That system didn't work for them. So we set up the system I just explained, and here they are, doing great. And Gina Wallace, so she recently came to the cash flow class, and it was so great for her. She learned a lot for herself and her business. A lot of what was holding her back was her mindset. So changing the way that she looked at things really helped her. So she found a bleed money that she could have been putting into other accounts for things that came up. And so since she worked with me, she opened up all her separate accounts, and she's learning to adjust and manage the finances. And so this is it. It's a process. You have to just get started from where you are and find the money that's been going missing. So Holly Scanlon said, my financial advice helped her so much over the last couple of years. She implemented some of the strategies and no longer felt like she was drowning. She knew where all her money was going, and she was able to keep track of it better. She lowered her car payment, lowered her credit card debt, and even lowered the withholding on her paycheck so she can have more money now instead of later. Okay, so listen, I hope this is working for you, that you're with me, that you understand why budgets and cash envelopes and manifesting money, they just don't work. I hope you get it. And that you understand why the idea and the obsession with being debt-free is really holding you back and keeping you broke. And that you like the invisible system, because I think it's my favorite. So today I promise to show you the exact system my clients use to manage their money, pay off their debt without feeling like a pauper. So who wants to get their money shit together? That's pretty much what I'm going to ask. I told you guys I was going to offer you a program. So if you're open to it, I will get into the presentation where I offer you this awesome system. So are you ready to be good with money, or do you want to stay where you're at just a little bit longer, like suffer just another month, bleed another month? What I want to say is that information doesn't get results. 78% of Americans are failing at money. These people all have access to Google. It's not a lack of information that's holding these people back. It is a lack of doing. And so I just want to say that because I taught you guys all this stuff, but I don't want you to think that you can just go ahead and do it on your own. So do you guys want to learn how to save money for the investing, how to pay the bills without stress, how to save for emergencies and the fun stuff, and still have money for your pocket so you can have a latte? This is the way to do it. And so introducing the invisible system to stop bleeding money and start stacking cash. I'm like super pumped about this. I love this system so much. So controlling your money is the first step toward building wealth. It's about clarity to use your money for what you really want. The invisible system gives you control without adding more to your to-do list. So who this is for, if you're ready for a change, if you're willing to do some work and take the actions. You get to start where you are. There's no need to be perfect. You just have to start making moves. You don't need to be super organized. You don't need to have more than enough money. You just need to start if you're ready to improve, pretty much. So Kristen Marie, she took the cash flow workshop, and woohoo, she believed that she was bad at money and she just really didn't know what the heck to do with it. The method that I taught her was the shift she'd been craving: organized, an easy way to understand, make money manageable, take the next steps toward financial freedom and her future. Personally, she had a lot of embarrassment and shame around money. And so the system led with strategies and non-judgment and allowed me to move beyond these emotions. And after only 2 weeks, she feels confident and she's changing her relationship with money. Meisha is another client. So before working with Brie, her and her husband were super financially insecure. Brie does more than just impact the amount of money in your bank account. She helps change your mindset. My issues in particular had nothing to do with the amount of money in my bank accounts and had everything to do with how she perceived money. That's the scarcity mindset that I was talking about. So if you wish to save more money, get out of debt, or think that money is the root of all evil, Meisha suggests working with me. And so listen, I had 2 choices. I could have made this program exclusive like I do with my one-on-one clients and helped not so many people. You know, I could have made a lot more money that way. But I told you before, my goal is to help 1 million people improve their financial situation. And to do that, I have to be able to help them without them coming into my office. So I want to make this program super accessible to anybody who really wants a change. So here, I'm going to go over what you get in the invisible system. So this course is in beta. And what that means for you guys is, after I explain the course, I'm going to talk about the coolest beta bonus that you're ever going to get. It's a tremendous value. So the course will be delivered over 6 weeks, and it's a $1,497 value. So in week 1, part 1, what we're going to do is saving to invest. So we're going to do some calculations. We're going to figure out, what does it take for you to reach financial independence? Almost nobody knows what number would give them that financial independence. And then if you are saving, whether or not you're on track, and if you should be saving more, how much? This is what's the best type of account for your investing and how to set it up. Week 2, we're going to go over paying the bills. We're going to get clear on how much our bills really cost. We're going to even out the feast or famine cycle. So many people have one side of the month where they have extra money, and one side of the month where they're not buying groceries. I'm going to show you how to even that out, how to organize your bills for maximum efficiency. No more logging in to every single one of your creditors, paying everything one at a time. No more sending checks. We're going to set it all up online. Part 3 is some of the most important stuff. We're going to talk about how to project for the unexpected, how to run the numbers for how you should be setting this stuff up every month, and how to set up an online system. And in that module, I also teach some cool tricks to free up cash flow and different ways to think about debt and payments. So part 4, we're going to go over important things. This is the good part. This is the part that you will love the most. So how to set fun financial goals like vacations, house repairs, whatever floats your boat and makes you happy. How to run the numbers for the amount that you should be saving each month to get the stuff that's really most important to you. Again, how to make this thing all happen online without, so you get to just set it up once with automation. Week 5, we're going to go over pocket cash. How much can you spend each week, each month, without ruining the rest of your financial picture? Do you know that's the #1 question people want to know? Is like, listen, I need to be able to spend some money, but just tell me how much I can spend without ruining everything else. How to balance date nights, groceries, dinners out, gasoline, and how to manage the bad habits that leave you broke. Part 6, we're going to talk about the invisible system, how to set this thing up all up online, when to move money, when to leave it alone, how to manage the paperwork, and how to make the choices, how to make the thing run, how to make it so that way you can manage your entire financial picture in probably about 15 minutes a month and be on top of your shit. That's the invisible system. All right, so then you're going to get all the super cool spreadsheets, track your money, track your progress. It does the math. You're going to get a workbook that's going to walk you through every single step of this, so you don't have to think about it too hard. Like, we've done all the hard thinking. You just get to plug the numbers in. Then you're going to get a super cool free bonus. You're going to get access to my online Facebook community. And I go live there once a week. I answer questions, and really more so what you're going to get here is a tribe of people that are also wanting to improve their lives without stealing ketchup or without doing other crazy things. It's a community. It's really important for that to happen, for changes to be made. Okay, so here you're going to get some bonuses too. So you're going to get the $1,400 97 program, the 6 parts, the tools, the community. I'm going to explain the bonuses in depth in a second, but you're going to get a bonus 1, 7 strategies to pay off debt. Bonus 2, breaking the scarcity cycle. Bonus 3, easy habit changes. So $2,988 total value, plus you're going to get the most freaking awesome beta bonus ever. And so listen, I told you before, I want to help 1 million people. So I wanted to make this as accessible as I possibly could. So the investment for this program is only $297. Now, notice how I said the word investment, because an investment is something that should give you a return on investment. So think about that. What are you going to get from, like, what kind of return would you get if you found all your money? If you stopped paying interest on your credit cards even 1 year sooner, how much would that be worth? How much would it be worth to you to stop wasting the money that is definitely being wasted in your life, where you throw food away or you're wasting trips to the store and your gasoline? You know, that's what this stuff's about. So it's very easy for you to get a return on this. And I'm guessing that most of you would see $297 of improvement in the very first month. And so listen, this offer is only available for 4 more days before the cart closes and I stop offering it. So if you're ready to go, and before you hear the bonuses, which are going to be super good and you should totally listen to them, the link is in the chat and you can click on it, sheep to sharks /order form. Now listen, if you've been listening to this and you're like, well, this sounds good, but I really want to be one of those 6-month clients and I need more high touch, I need more. You can go ahead and fill out an application to work with me for 6 months at briesodano.com. I'm at a point now where I'm pretty busy with trying to help as many people online. So I'm only taking 5 new clients a month, but they're really awesome. It's really that I love it. I love doing it. It's so good. We get fantastic results with all the systems that I teach clients. All right, so listen, this system is good on its own. The system, just the practical advice is good on its own. But I know from experience that you're going to need strategy, you're going to need mindset work, and you're going to need to change your habits for this to get maximum impact on your life. I know this. So I included some bonus material for you guys to make sure that you get the changes that you want and that you came for. All right, so Lauren Nicole, I helped her so much at her first meeting by showing her where she needed to prioritize and how to be so much more calm and grateful for the little things. Thanks to her support, I was able to gain insight and motivation to increase my income in a major way and organize myself enough to start chipping away at her debts. All right, so the beta bonus. So here is what you're gonna get, because this is in beta. And so I'm super concerned and really dedicated to my client's success. I want to make sure that going forward, this program is so solid that it can run absolutely without me. So at first, I need all the feedback. I want to answer your questions. I'm going to coach you to make sure that you get everything that you need until I can tighten up the course and it can be so perfect. So as we go, you're going to get access to me. I'll be live every Thursday for an hour where you can send me questions in advance if you can or can't come live. If you want to send a request for a one-on-one hot seat where we can look at your numbers specifically, you're going to get that for 6 full weeks. So while you're in the class, you are going to get my personal help, support, love, guidance, encouragement. I'll be in the group. I'll be answering questions. And so this is an addition to the other free group where I answer questions there once a week too, more on strategy and whatever else people need, but this is specific to this. So this is a lot of one-on-one attention that you have the ability to get. And so listen, this is totally true. Clients pay me $350 an hour to come sit in my office for me to do this work for them. And so if you use this, the $297 value is, you can use that in just my time in the first week that you do this. But you'll have me for all 6 weeks. And like, I care. I want to make sure that this works for you. So I'll be happy and willing to help you get through everything. You know, customize it, tweak it as you need to go. So Chris Ricci says, it's been a pleasure working with me. He says that I'm very bright and talented young lady. And so here's I feel like I'm so embarrassed when I read this because he says all these super nice things about me. So Brie continues to go above and beyond for her clientele in her quest to educate and turn things around for her clients' finances. And so he says that the knowledge of financial strategy, money management, investments is vast and continuously growing. And that's super true. I'm constantly improving and reading and learning new things to make sure that I'm sharp and on top of it for my clients. And so here's what you're going to get for the bonus materials. So, oh, sorry. All right. So bonus one. All right. This is so important. 7 strategies to get rid of credit card debt forever. So most people just know about the snowball plan. And that's a fine plan. It's one of the strategies that you're going to go with. So I'm going to teach you 7 different ways to get rid of debt forever. So that way you can pick the best strategy for you, know when it's appropriate, know how to do it. And so the 7 strategies for getting rid of debt forever, there's a holding pattern. There's this credit card snowball, the snowball with the credit card shuffles. So that's the snowball where you also use a 0% loan transfer, a personal loan, 401k loan, consolidation service, and bankruptcy. Nobody really likes that one, but sometimes it needs to be done. And the worst thing possible is to be trying to use a snowball when really you need a lawyer, because it's sad and takes forever. So again, what I want to press on you guys is you have to end the habit of needing money and start the habit of having money. Okay, bonus 2, breaking the scarcity cycle. This is about changing the mindset, changing those thought patterns where you don't have enough. So we're going to look at the way that your money mindset has been programmed, so that way you can start to look for what works and look to change what doesn't. So a lot of times we self-sabotage. A lot of times we think we want something, but we don't really want it. Or we think we want something, but we don't think we can have it. Or we think we want something, but we also think something bad will happen when we get it. And when you get all that stuff in your mind straightened out, making these changes is so easy, because now it's not just you're grinding against your own willpower and trying to use your self-discipline. Now you want what you want and the other stuff falls away. It's really incredible when you change your mindset and your habits at the same time. So Monica Latimer I helped her to realize that her thoughts needed to change around money, that she should be saving for the future big purchases and vacation, that she enjoyed the seminar. And she suggests that if you have the money to work with me, because my knowledge is amazing. All right, bonus 3 is easy habit changes. I'm going to teach you the way that habit cycles work. And so the way that it goes is all habits have a trigger, a routine, and a reward. And so most of us try to change the routine without ever addressing what triggers the routine or addressing the reward that we get. When you replace habits, you have to do it fully, so that way it sticks. You have to be getting the same reward and making sure that you account for the triggers that cause the routine. Make sense? So I'm going to show you how to do money tracking. I'm going to show you about efficiency. Find and eliminate the waste. Like, if you just eliminated the waste, what would that do for your finances? I'm going to show you how to practice gratitude, and that is super amazing to make these changes stick again. And we're going to go over some more, but we're coming up on an hour, so I know that you probably want to get to bed at some point. So listen, all together, this is an incredible, incredible value. You're going to get the course. It's $1,497 value. You're going to get the parts of the program, the tools, the community. You're going to get 7 strategies to pay off credit card debt. You're going to get breaking the scarcity cycle and the bonus 2. You're going to get the easy habit changes. Again, this is a $2,988 value, and I did my best with the pricing to make it as easily accessible to whoever wanted it as possible. And just for being in my beta group, you're going to get like my one-on-one attention. So you're going to get to ask me questions. You're going to get to ask me for hot seats. I'm going to coach you for 6 weeks, and that is a $997 value. And again, the investment is only $297, and this is only good for 4 more days. The cart will close and the offer will go away in 4 days. So the link is in the chat box, And again, if all this course did for you was show you how to stop making financial choices in scarcity and desperation, that alone is worth all of the $2,988. I'm going to give you an example of a client who made a choice in scarcity and desperation and what that really cost her. So one of my clients, her van broke and she needed to go buy a car and she didn't have the best credit. So she went to a dealership and they offered her like a Ford, like a big, I don't know, an Explorer or something. And she didn't get a fantastic interest rate because her credit wasn't good. And she took the offer out of scarcity and desperation because she was so worried that she wasn't going to get anything else. And so for a period of years, she made a $600 car payment that was way outside of what was reasonable for her to be affording. And it was because she made that choice in scarcity and desperation. So if you had some tools that helped you avoid one bad decision, I mean, that bad decision cost her $6,000 a year for a period of years. That's totally it. And again, this program is less than $300. You know, the offer is only available for 4 more days because you're going to get my one-on-one time. You're going to get that coaching. And so I know that I need, for me to be able to really provide that level of support, I can't offer it to everybody. If all this course did for you was show you how to maximize the efficiency, you'd probably save a minimum of $250 a month. I told you before, my clients are typically finding anywhere between $500 and $1,500 a month. But if all you found was $250, half of what I said you probably could find, then that alone is worth the $2,988 in just 1 year. In just 1 year. And again, the investment is only $297. So you'd be having a return on your investment in like less than 6 weeks. That's a super fast turnaround. It takes years to get a return in the market. It takes extra in the real estate market. Okay, so again, you're going to get the entire system, the 6 parts of the program, the tools, the community, the bonus strategies to pay off your credit card debt, to break the scarcity cycle, easy habit changes, the $2,988 total value with the extra $997 worth of beta bonuses, where I'm going to help you as much as you ask for. And so again, if all this course did for you was just show you how to use credit responsibly, stop getting screwed and get rid of your debt faster, how much is that worth? How much does your interest cost you every year? Today I had clients in, the interest on their loans cost more than $10,000 per year. $10,000 per year they're spending on credit card interest. And so if we get them just 1 year faster, he's had this debt for decades. Not always that amount, but he's had credit card debt for decades. That alone is worth the $2,988. And again, you're only going to pay 10% of that. You're going to get a return on your investment so fast. Listen, I get that it's counterintuitive to spend money to fix a money problem. I get it. And especially if you're thinking, man, I really need this and I don't have a choice but to put it on the credit card, that's a bad feeling to have to make that choice. But finding and fixing the bleed is going to help you turn those sieves into buckets. So that way you can stop bleeding and start stacking. So if you're on the fence about it, you just really need to ask yourself, how much money do you lose every month? How much money do you lose? I mean, the investment on this is so small that you should be getting a return on your investment so fast that it's definitely worth it. It'd be silly to not spend the money. Like if you lose, if you lose $300 a month, where you say, all right, after all my expenses, how much is left? So if you're losing $300 a month, this $297, it'd be silly not to spend the money to get this sort of help, to make this investment in yourself. So really the question is, do you have enough money to bleed 1 more month? Do you have enough money that you can just bleed, not worry about it? Most people, the answer is no. Most people want to know where their money goes. They want to be better with it, and they want to be investors, and they don't want to have to work forever. And so if you're in that category, it's definitely time to buy. And so listen, if you're nervous, if you're not sure, you're like, I mean, this lady's okay, but she's a stranger. You're right. I get it. You got a risk-free guarantee. If you don't like the program, in the first 7 days, you're going to get the before you get started and the first module. And so if you don't like it, if you don't like my voice, you don't like my face, fine. If you don't like my stuff, I get it. Just ask for a refund. And if you're not completely satisfied with the course, that's fine. I'll just give you your money back. No worries. I want you to feel good about this going into it. I don't want you to feel like you're taking a risk. You don't get any risk-free investments in any other way, shape, or form. Most of the time investments take risk, and I'm gonna take the risk for you on this because I so want to help 1 million people improve their finances. It's like my life's mission. And so listen, do it yourself gets low results because habits are hard to change. The information you got today, the information you could go on Google, that stuff's only potential. Lasting change comes from repeated exposure to the system. It comes from accountability, community, momentum, guidance, coaching, asking questions, and making sure that you get the change. Sometimes you're just not going to do it by yourself. If you could have done it on your own, you probably would have already done it. Even though that sounds snotty to say, and I don't mean it to be snotty, but it's not a lack of information that was holding you back. If you're on this webinar, it's because you need help. That's the truth of it. Let's hear from Jody. So Jody says, I'm changing lives. I helped educate people to handle their finances and teaching them how important good and bad financial decisions affect us in the real world. And this is so important. And she points out that nobody ever taught her this in school. So when she took my class, it was her first like real time learning how to manage money. So again, the investment, and it's a super small investment, $297. You're going to have a super fast return. And so click the link below. Don't bleed one more month. Don't miss one more savings opportunity. Don't make more payments without a strategy. It doesn't work. So you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. It's $297. I'm going to hold the risk for you. How many of you guys are bleeding more than $250 a month? I've literally never seen a budget where somebody wasn't bleeding it, that kind of money. So if you just fix that one bleed, you're going to have your money back in 6 weeks. That's a super fast return. And so you have everything to gain. So if you did $250 a month, the first month you used to pay for the investment, and then the rest, that means you're cash flow positive, nearly $3,000, like $2,750, which is a 10 times return on investment in just the first year. That's crazy. You're not going to get that in the stock market. You're not going to get that anyplace else. So you should totally do this and get your stuff straightened out. And again, if you want to work with me one-on-one, if you want to have that higher level of service, you need some strategy, you need planning, you need mindsets, you need very deep and depth look at your habits, and you know that a do-it-yourself, if you know that your mess is bigger than a 6-week cleanup, I get it. You can fill out an application to work with me, briesodano.com. So you guys, we are 8:02. I'm almost perfectly on the dot for my hour. So thank you so much for sticking around until the very end. I appreciate your time. I appreciate that you showed up and you stayed with me. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box. I'll be answering them now. And the worksheets that I promised you will be in your inbox shortly, along with the replay. So I appreciate you and thank you so much. Let's see if I got any questions before I sign off. All right. So we are good to go. So I will hopefully see you guys in my group. I wish you the best. Have a wonderful, fantastic evening.